Is this recording? Hey, good morning. It's day 20 after my 2-level ADR disc replacement surgery with the LP-ESP disc with Dr. Rischke, and originally had the surgery in Goldock, Switzerland at Clinic St. George. It is day 10. On the 10th, I had to have an emergency balloon kyooplasty where the vertebra, the two artificial discs I got, the top one, the L4, L5 disc, was actually sinking into the vertebra of L5. And there was a little bit of, at the back of the L5 S1 artificial disc, it was pushing up and into the back and bottom of the L5 vertebra. The L5 vertebra was basically being crushed from both directions with my new artificial disc. I knew I had a problem with osteopenia and soft bones going into this. The DEXA bone scan only has levels 1 through 4. It does not have L5. I done some CT comparisons of my L4, which was 0.8, which is not in the osteopenia range. I did some comparisons on my bone density values between that and L5, and I thought L5 would be okay. In the States, the Active-L brochure, that's the last device that's FDA approved, it has a criterion in there. If you have osteopenia less than if your T-score is like less than 1, the 0.8 would be good, 1 would not be good, or like a 1.2, something like that T-score, that you're not a candidate. But in the States, now I found out later on here. In Europe, you can get a kyphoplasty, which they inject bone cement into the vertebra at the same time, so you're still a candidate for ADR if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis over here. I've learned that recently from Dr. Rischke. I didn't even know what a kyphoplasty was or a balloon kyphoplasty was until I needed one. So anyway, that was on day 10. The pain from that, the first 4 days I was pretty much back pain free. I was only taking Tylenol and Motrin. But then on day 5, it's, when I could feel that happening on the drive over here and some other stuff that night before, but I could feel the pain, so I went and started taking some other pain meds back when that problem occurred. But anyway, the pain has been going down a little bit each day. My sleep schedule is kind of messed up. I sleep in the afternoon a little bit. I'm trying to take my shirt off and lie in the sun in the apartment up here, get some vitamin D. In the afternoons, and then I'll sleep a little bit at night. I'll sleep like 3 or 4 hour session. But yesterday was the first day I switched and got rid of the Nucynta and switched over to Tramadol to try to take a lighter dose of pain medicines and stuff. Anyway, I started with like 100 milligrams of Tramadol in the morning, 250 milligram tablets to get my initial dose up there, and then the half-life. You're supposed to take one like every 6 hours because of the way the half-life. I ended up taking, I started with a 100 dose, and then throughout the day, I ended up taking 300 milligrams by the time I went to bed last night. The max dose of Tramadol anybody's supposed to take during a 24-hour period for somebody my height, weight, whatever, is 400 milligrams. So I'm well below I'm 25% below the max dose for Tramadol as of yesterday. But anyway, after 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I did take I'm also taking Celebrex, and I'm also taking Tylenol. So it was a combination of 3 pain meds. Celebrex, instead of ibuprofen and stuff, I'm taking Celebrex once every 12 hours. I'm taking Tylenol, every 4 to 6 hours, and then the Nucynta or the Tramadol as needed, basically not to exceed 400 milligrams a day. But anyway, it's a lot of stuff to understand. If you've been taking pain meds for as long as I have, you kind of understand the doses, the max doses, and you try to stay within those limits. But anyway, last night was the first night. I after 3 or 4 hours of sleeping totally flat on my back in this bed, that was probably from 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 3 hours. Only a 3 hours of position, but when you're lying on your back, you've got the least amount of pressure in your disc. In my case, it's not pressure in the disc that's pushing on the nerve that causes pain. It's the fact that my L5 vertebra and L4 vertebrae were just filled with bone cement and a kyooplasty, that they are super pressure sensitive. So when I'm standing up putting weight on them, I can feel if I've got my iPhone in my right pocket or my left pocket, but it feels better if I take it and put it in my pants pocket, so that the weight of that phone is not on my upper body. It's kind of a weird pressure sensitivity that I'm feeling, but it's getting a little bit better each day. But anyway, when I woke up at 1:30, my pain, again, the last pain pill, the last tramadol I took the Celebrex at like 6 or something like that last night. The last tramadol I took was at 8:30, so it's an 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 5 hours. So the amount of tramadol that I've had in my body is, pretty much gone down at that point, very low. But anyway, I woke up, my pain was probably a 1 or 2 when I woke up. That's the lightest it's been in a year, maybe more than a year. Great news for me. I mean, I'm still taking, that was still with Celebrex, and the Tylenol, the half-life of that was out of my system at that point too. So I was pretty much only with Celebrex and maybe a little bit of tramadol in my system. My pain was only like a 1 or 2 when I woke up. Very low pain. Now, I've been up for 20 minutes. I've been kind of pacing around, walking, saying thinking about what I'm going to say, stuff like that. The pain started coming back. So I went ahead and decided to go ahead and take my Tylenol, go ahead and take another tramadol. But anyway, so I went ahead and taken those just 5 minutes ago. But anyway, the fact that after laying flat on my back for 3 hours, not putting any stress on my vertebra, the pain was like a 1 or 2. That's the lightest it's been in over a year. So besides those 4 days after, with the initial disc replacement, it was less than that. I didn't feel anything. So, I've had 4 days of that pain-free days, and then I've had that just experience now. So it is progressing. It is getting better with the pain in my back. But I just want to give you an update on that. This video, I'm 7 minutes into this. I'm limited with YouTube on 15 minutes of videos until I can get back to the States and verify I am who I say I am and get a text on my phone, which is here, that doesn't have service in Switzerland. But anyway, wanted to show you a couple of things that I've been learning. One is body dynamics. I got a nice big mirror here in this Airbnb apartment. So I'm not allowed to do forward flexion, rearward flexion, sideways, twisting, anything. I got to keep my core straight. The reason why is the bone has to adhere to the titanium end plates of the disc, and I don't want to flex and pull that apart or anything like that. I have to keep my core straight when I do things. So one of the things I'm learning is how to pick up stuff off the floor, keeping my vertebra totally straight. I've watched some YouTube videos on how you don't have to teach a child how to pick stuff up, and they show a picture of a child in the sand, playing in the sand, where he's squatting down and doing a certain body dynamic motion. So he's basically, you're using your legs as scissor motions, and you've got to go down to a spot where you're going all the way down, deepest squat you've ever done, kind of like a duck walk, where you're all the way down, but you're keeping your back totally straight. So anyway, I just wanted to demonstrate to you. I got my sweatpants and stuff here on the floor. I got a mirror here beside me. You kind of have to spread your toes out and do all the way down. I don't know if you can see this in the mirror. So anyway, that's what I have to do. Keep my back totally straight to go down to the floor and pick something up. So that's one of the techniques I've learned. I'm going to try to show you a video on YouTube of that technique and how to do that. I was able to go, I was running out, I basically ran out of Tylenol, but I was able to take my original prescription from Dr. Rischke to the pharmacy and get, I'm not taking the ibuprofen anymore. I'm taking Celebrex. I took my medicines with her and showed her. So I was able to get a refill of the basically generic or their version of Prilosec, which is a protein pump inhibitor for acid reduction if you're taking NSAIDs on a daily basis. And I was able to get my Tylenol, so without having to go back to the doctor. This was on Sunday. I went and did this. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that point up. Another thing I wanted to bring up is bring some good house slippers, because if not, you'll be throwing away your socks. I got these at the hospital for free, but they're really kind of crappy. So bring some good slip-on house shoes with you. Anyway, that's a day 20 update from Zurich. Talk to y'all later.